In this tutorial, we'll walk through the process of creating modular fence gates for games in Blender 3D. The goal is to design assets that can be reused and easily placed within a game environment. Open Blender and create a new project, or open a project you're working on. I do have a tutorial showing you how to make this modular fence. The link is in the description. You'll be working with modular assets, so we'll start by creating a simple base for the gate. This gate will then be combined with other modular parts like the fence post and rails. We'll begin by creating the main frame of the fence gate. Use Shift-A to add a plane and rotate it around the x-axis by 90 degrees. Scale the plane to match the proportions of the fence gate. Make sure you make the height a bit shorter than the fence. If you followed my previous tutorial, you can use the fence as a guide for your gate proportions. This will form the base of the gate. You can adjust these values later if necessary. In Edit mode and in Edge Select mode, use Ctrl-R to add two horizontal edge loops. Scale both of these edge loops along the Z-axis to form the horizontal bars of the fence gate. Add a horizontal edge loop just above and below these two horizontal edge loops. To make the gate look more realistic, add support beams. These will be vertical bars connecting the top and bottom of the gate. Add as many edge loops as you want for the vertical bars of the fence. Select the two horizontal faces and use the P key to separate them. Select the unneeded edges, right-click, and dissolve them. In Object mode, add a Solidify modifier. This will produce the solid shape of the mesh. Use Even Thickness and increase the thickness to your desired value. Select the remainder of the fence gate and tab into Edit mode. Select each of the faces of the gate and press the I key twice to inset the faces separately. Then key in the thickness you want to use. Delete the inset faces. In Object mode, add a Solidify modifier. This will produce the solid shape of the mesh. Use Even Thickness and increase the thickness to your desired value. Move the support beams to the center of the gate frame. Use Ctrl-A to apply the modifiers. Select both parts of the gate and use Ctrl-J to join them together. Now let's add some functional details such as rails and wheels to make the gate more realistic. Move the gate toward the back of the fence, aligning it to the edge of the fence. Use Shift-A to add a cube. Scale it to the same length of the gate and fence combined. Scale it along the Y and Z axis to the proper size for a rail. In edit mode, use Ctrl R and your scroll wheel to add 2 horizontal loop cuts to the top of the rail. Scale these loop cuts along the y-axis. Select the new interior face and use the E key to extrude it down along the z-axis. In object mode, use Shift A to add a cylinder. Rotate it around the Y and Z axis by 90 degrees and scale it to the proper proportions to fit into the rail. Place the wheel inside the rail. This will allow the gate to roll inside the rail to open. Use Ctrl A and apply all the transforms for the wheel. This will ensure you don't experience any odd geometry when you inset the faces. In edit mode, select the front and back faces of the wheel and inset them. Select the inset faces and use Alt E and choose Extrude Faces along normals. This will allow you to easily extrude both sides of the wheel. Select the 4 top center faces of the extruded faces. Extrude these selected faces along the Z-axis until they're just below the gate. Use the S, Z, and 0 keys to scale these faces flat along the Z-axis. Select the 4 top edges of the interior of these extrusions. Right-click and bridge the edge loops. Select these new edges on the right and left of the extrusions. Extrude them along the X-axis and the Z-axis to form the attachment point to the gate. Move the wheel into place. Duplicate this wheel and move it to the other end of the gate. Use Shift A to add a cube. Place it on the back of the fence and scale it to the proper size to act as a guide for the gate. In edit mode, select the top and 2 shorter faces. Inset the faces and then delete the inset faces. Select the 2 shorter edges and use the F key to add a face. Repeat this process to add faces on the sides. Duplicate this guide and rotate it around the y-axis by 180 degrees. Place this guide at the top of the fence. Duplicate these guides and move them to the other end of the fence. You've now created a modular fence gate in Blender 3D. By following these steps, you can create assets that are not only reusable, but also compatible with a variety of fence parts for modular game design. Thanks for following along with this tutorial. If you found this helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe. Have a good day.